So with this video, I think there is some value for us to study it, but I want to be on record as to say I don't know exactly what we're looking at here. Oftentimes with these videos that are shot by students, clearly there's context that is missing. I don't know what happened before the student started recording. And I think that is important. We can only go off of what we see in this clip. And again, before we start to study this and look at this and learn from this, I want to be on record as saying that because this teacher doesn't necessarily look good in this 59-second clip that we're about to watch. All right, I said that. Here we go.
This much of a deposit, or you need to be a member of the bank, or fees. Oh my God. I'm sorry that I was helping my friend with her work.
That's amazing. That's there.
I can tell you're trying to intimidate me, but I don't quite care. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I was trying to help my friend. Are you going to send us to the office?
Yeah.
Dang.
There's more. You don't let it
Oh! If you're going to say something to me, I'd rather you say it now than keep staring at me.
Ooh.
Until you're going to intimidate me.
Oh my God.
This doesn't have any communication and it doesn't achieve anything. Please tell me what you want to say. I just want to get.
Okay. So, I mean, that's the end of that video. And like I said, I don't know what came before that, but obviously it appeared that the student in the flannel shirt was doing something that she wasn't supposed to be doing. And, you know, we've seen it where students can, at times when we want to redirect students will minimize what they're doing, or they'll, in this case, legitimize what they're doing. I'm sorry for helping my student. Okay. Again, we don't know what the instructions were, but we have the teacher use a move that many of us have moved. There's a look. Now, if that look goes on for quite some time, or it becomes, I don't know, weird or a spectacle, like in this case, like that's too long. Okay, so I think that's a lesson right there. You know, when we want to use our nonverbals to redirect a student, we don't want to make a spectacle out of it. That's the big thing here. You see, she comes in, she's watching for a while. The student feels a presence, and the student is ignoring that presence. And so the teacher leans in a little bit more, and you know, it's not working. And then in addition to that, you have the commentary from the other students. And so now it's gone left. It's gone sideways. It's not healthy. You need to change it up. You need to do something else in order to redirect this student. And it appears, again, I don't know, but it does appear that it would appear that students are expected to be, the expectation is the students are doing some work on their computer. And excuse me. So is one student helping? If the conversation was legitimately about helping, I don't see that as a battle worth fighting. As a matter of fact, I would kind of lean into it if it's an assignment that's conducive to that. and again, I don't know all of the details, but what we do know is that, the methods used here, they were not effective. So this goes on. The student is not responding well, and you heard some of the commentary from the other students, and that's not healthy. It was like they were watching a UFC fight. That's not healthy. That's not, as a leader in the classroom, you are the one who is responsible for setting the tone, setting the environment in your classroom, and that's not what we want. We don't want an environment where combativeness is encouraged in the classroom, where now you have this spectacle. This is a power struggle, and it just totally went sideways when the students started talking. I can tell you're trying to intimidate me. And then the student stands up. A student stands up. So now you see this student had her back turned to the thing, but now the student stands up. Oh, now there's something to see here. And it's just, this has been going on for 26 seconds. It's now time, teacher, to use your voice. What is it? What is the directive that you want this student to follow? You need to give it, because this has gone sideways. And of course, as teachers, you have your teacher ear where you can hear stuff that's going on in the back of the classroom. You have your teacher eyes where you can see stuff that's going on in the peripheral. You've got to know. You've got to be able to spot that there is a camera filming this incident. Now, I say that it's just a matter of being aware. Like I don't condone doing anything that you wouldn't be comfortable if your principal or a parent came in and observed you doing. Okay. Sometimes redirection can be a little rough. It's not always a smooth thing. It's not always a pretty thing to witness, but overall there's still respect. And so in this case, let me go back. When you're redirecting, you can still see. People should still be able to see that the respect coming from you, the leader, towards that student. They should know that, hey, I'm not breaking our relationship. I don't have any disrespect in my heart for this student. I just, in this moment, we're having a disagreement and I need this student to do X, Y, and Z. Period. Because ultimately it's going to be to the advantage of the student, or it's going to be to the advantage of the classroom. For example, hey, right now you're making it challenging for me to do my job, which is to teach all of these students. So I'm very passionate about my need for you to please go to your seat and pay attention. Thank you so much. So here, so we have students egging it on. Now the student has closed. They've closed. You see what they've done with their hands. They're not moving. Okay, they're not moving, and things are only getting worse with this situation. And again, like, this is a 59-second clip where the teacher is saying nothing, while this student is able to make some pretty darn good points about this situation. And again, we don't know what the previous redirections were for this student, or what this student should have been doing. But in this 59 seconds, which has been made public, we get to see it. The teacher doesn't look good. Teacher doesn't look good. And so I would say overall the point here is you've got to be aware of what's going on in the classroom, and you have to be wise you just got to know when it's time to pivot. Because, for example, here's the other thing, like the recording you gotta see that this student has his camera out and is recording you. You have to be able to see that. And then I think the other thing too here is just really assessing the situation. And again, I'm a lot of this is speculation, because I don't know what happened before this, but I mean, there's just so much that is wrong with this, with how this is being handled. And then, a lot of these comments, they're questioning the teacher. Like, is the teacher there? Is the teacher possibly on drugs? They're saying the teacher needs to resign. The student handled it like an adult, whereas the adult handled it like a child. And you know what? That's... Rumor says that the teacher is still staring at her. Okay, so I mean, I'd be curious to know how this ended, but you just and the damage that this does to the teacher is this teacher is going to lose the classroom, and by that I mean the students are going to think that something may be wrong with that teacher, or the teacher straight up tried to intimidate this student, so we don't respect that teacher. And so it's just going to be a miserable experience being in this class for everybody. And again, the teacher is a leader. You have to set the example. And and perhaps even before this, we know before this recording started, the teacher had been trying the nonverbal to try to redirect the student, and the student wasn't responding. So you have to understand that it's time to pivot. It's time to move on to something else because the student isn't responding. You don't want to intentionally walk yourself into making a spectacle in front of the class. And then you're in this, you feel like you're in this trap where you feel like the student, now you're in this power struggle, which we say never get into power struggles with students. That's your classroom. You're the only one in that classroom that's addressed by their surname. So now you've walked yourself into a power struggle, and I would imagine this teacher feels like I don't see a way out. I'm just going to stare at her until she backs down and goes back to her seat and is quiet for the remainder of the class. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. And I think that, what we have here is just a huge misjudgment of the situation, a lack of understanding of this student. And that's the other thing. You can do this. This is very... the nonverbals, that can work on some students. On some students, it can't. And here, I don't know the situation, but I mean, if she's legitimately helping a friend with the work, thank you for helping your friend with the work. I really appreciate that. But for this assignment, I'm asking that all students, complete it on their own, so I can get an idea of where they are in terms of their understanding of the concepts in this unit. So thank you so much. I appreciate you. Would you please go back to your seat? Now again, she may have tried that and it didn't work. That's a possibility. But I'm just going off of what I've seen in this 59-second clip. This looks bad, and you should not do this. This is yeah, it's very bad. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet again, please don't forget that teachers are leaders.